All dressed up and nowhere to go, Marines. This just keeps getting better and better. We'll have to stay put until we can figure out what to do next. Keep your eyes open.
visual. What's going on, guys? Yeah, what's the status? Got a
automated defense system of this installation is authorized to shoot at trespassers. This is not a violation of your rights under SolGov Colony Defense Law Article 3-4658-A.
Again, I'm Lieutenant Kyle Hardlaw of SolGov Command Group 13, External Tactics Initiative, 1st Peacemaker Assault Corps of Alpha Black Zero Team. Is there any way we can interface with you to give you a digital verification of our identity?
The automated defense system of this installation is authorized to shoot at trespassers. This is not a violation of your rights under SolGov Colony Defense Law Article 3-4658-A.
Computer, from that black box you must be able to deduce that there's a Command Group 13. You must be able to find a list of communication codes in there. Alpha Black Zero Team is identified by code Sigma 18.
10, 9, 8, 7,
Damn it.
6.
Okay, Marines, time to...
My name is Sigil 800. I am the synthetic caretaker of this facility. I apologize for any inconvenience. I have verified your identities and will open the main gate. Please step back at the moment. Hello, Lieutenant Hardlaw. Welcome to Cameron's Hope.
An AI. It's a frickin' AI. Well, now we've seen it all, haven't we?
I prefer the term synthetic caretaker myself, but yes, that is what I am. I am a Cassiopeia Class AI, Generation 1. Pleased to meet you.
Hello, Sigil. Thanks for letting us in. Don't worry about what happened earlier. With those hyenas prowling the countryside, I don't blame you for being careful. Tell me, Sigil, what happened to the colonists that stayed here?
The workers that stayed here were engineers for the processing facility. When the company went bankrupt, they were able to shuttle themselves out.
Well, good for them. And you've been guarding this place ever since?
Yes, Lieutenant Hardlaw, for 8 years now. There was no room for me on the shuttle. They could have taken my physical systems kernel with them, but the chances of me ever being placed in another top-class installation like this are minimal. So I requested that they leave me here. This facility is able to generate its own power almost indefinitely, and Fujiyama will most likely be acquired by another corporation sometime in the future. I will be needed again.
What makes you so sure?
Sergeant!
Don't worry, Lieutenant Hardlaw. I am happy to explain. I am a Cassiopeia AI. We are quite useful to any reorganization that would try to claim this planet. I believe that is why we are seeing such activity on Fujiyama now. The major corporations developed us for SolGov to predict economical, social, and military situations in federated space.
Get out of here. You mean like telling the future? That's impossible.
Telling the future is indeed possible, but my class of autonomous brain, the Cassiopeia AI, is able to process every bit of data and news flowing through the entire SolGov data axis and continuously overlay that data over all other data that has ever been recorded in the history of mankind. Thus, we are able to make advanced predictions about where specific niches of human society are heading and the most likely patterns of social, political, and economical conflict.
Yeah, right. Whatever, man.
Is it so hard to believe? Take one of your Warlock dropships, for instance. It is such a complicated and sophisticated machine that the maintenance diagnostics for the entire dropship is completely incomprehensible to humans. It can only be interpreted by synthesized maintenance engineer, an AI. Consider that a network of atmosphere processing plants and data access routers for an entire planet is 100,000 times more complicated. Then consider that that's nothing compared to an entire industrialized star system, let alone the entirety of the SolGov Federation of Planets. Even Cassiopeia-class AIs need to link into a processing concert to process that kind of information. From there, we are able to forecast likely scenarios for the future of SolGov.
Then why are you stuck here on God's own wee toilet bowl, huh?
When the terraforming of Fujiyama was initiated 200 years ago, it was a very prestigious project. It should have been one of SolGov's most promising planets. It should have alleviated the political tension in Eurasia on Earth. In that sense, I was very proud to be assigned to the Fujiyama project. But even we have failure rates. When processing such immense amounts of data, the most minuscule anomaly can become a significant blind spot in our forecasts. And like I said, the engineers had to leave me behind. Believe me, I didn't like that, and neither did they.
Does SolGov make use of your kind of AI?
Oh yes, most definitely. It's been a long time since I was able to access the SolGov data axis. The Fujiyama data axis was disconnected from it some 20 years ago, but I know that there are now Cassiopeia-class AIs that exceed me by at least 1 or 2 generations. I can only imagine what they are capable of.
And there's AI influence in SolGov policy?
Most certainly. There are entire branches of SolGov dedicated to carrying out the advice of my brethren. Many arms of the government are run entirely by automated process. The social dynamics being generated by a galactic civilization like that of SolGov are too much for humans to comprehend. Autonomous brains, therefore, are ideally suited to diagnose all that information and to try and formulate government policy from it. Take your own military organization, for instance.
What about it?
The data in the black box that contains the identification codes for Alpha Black Zero Team refers to a military reorganization program called Aegis 51. Am I correct that this is an entire command group reorganized to adapt to the changing face of law enforcement and warfare in space?
That's correct, yes.
Well, such reorganizations and hierarchical upgrades are typically the result of our recommendations and planning. In that sense, Lieutenant Hardlaw, we have a lot more in common than is evident at first glance.
Great. That's just freaking great. We're completely screwed, man. No one is coming to get us if they didn't even bother to pick up this literate piece of junk. Secure that mouth of yours, Marine.
Okay. Alright, everyone ease up. Let me think here.
May I interrupt your train of thought, Lieutenant Hardlaw? I believe there may be a solution to your problem, but it involves the expertise of your team.
Go on.
As you may or may not be aware of, an off-world organization is most likely responsible for the trouble on Fujiyama, and for inciting the already unhappy colonists to revolt.
There's nothing to revolt against. SolGov abandoned this planet long ago.
Indeed, but that just covers what is really going on. She is not important, but a revolt on Fujiyama alone would have been suspicious. The Troglo imperialists are stirring up troubles so that the real crime being perpetrated can continue unnoticed.
And that would be?
An act of war against SolGov.
What?
The exophage cartels that fund many of the operations of the Troglo imperialists are extremely unhappy about being hunted down by the Cassiopeia AIs that govern SolGov's military policy. In fact, within 100 years, they will be unable to hide their activities. Trade in antimatter weapons and military-grade nanotechnology is so profitable that they would do anything to escape capture. They are very wealthy and very powerful. Some of the exophage cartels possess more money than the net worth of an entire industrialized star system. They are not only able to buy individuals of questionable moral constitution, but also very talented nano-engineers and AI coders, often offering them 100 times their yearly SolGov salaries. In other words, the same people that built autonomous brains like me and my distant, more powerful cousins are steadily being recruited by the exophage cartels. Unbelievable as it may sound, the exophage cartels are now capable of creating the equivalent of a Cassiopeia AI. Worse still, they have created an AI that is capable of physically harming a Cassiopeia AI through a data access connection. A Nemesis-class AI, if you will.
Well, that would be a very serious threat to interplanetary security if it proves to be true. I assume this is one of your predictions? What is the likely failure rate?
0%. There is one present on Fujiyama right now.
Alright, listen up. Sigil has told us that the exophage cartels are trying to implement a weapons program that could seriously threaten interplanetary security. They're using outdated data axes of abandoned development colonies to firmly route these weapons into communication lines that could be hooked up to the central SolGov data axis. If connected, it could bring a full-scale assault on our way of life. We shouldn't speculate what factions like the Troglo Imperialists will do when that happens. They already stand ready to pounce on anyone in their way. We can safely assume that what we've seen in the past 24 hours is a sample of what they could be capable of doing once they've assumed control of the planetary data axis. One of the Nemesis AIs they're using has been brought to Fujiyama and has already been hooked into the Fujiyama data axis. This Nemesis AI is likely to be the one that activated the Sostiel systems of the planet that destroyed Command Group 11's fleet. We don't know what happened on Shi, but since we know that the Troglo Imperialists on Shi were creating uplinks to the Fujiyama data axis, it's safe to assume that Command Group 11 has also been attacked while in orbit. Until we're able to gather more intel, we must assume that we are now over our heads in a dark Citadel scenario. We have no backup, no chance of evac, and are far behind enemy lines. We're gonna have to go underground and cause as much damage to the enemy as possible without risking capture. Sigil has been trying to escape the Nemesis AI's attention and has been hiding so deep in the routine processes of this facility that it has not been detected. The Nemesis AI is probably still asserting its full control over every electronic system on Fujiyama, but once it has done that, it will only be a matter of time before Sigil is discovered. Once that happens, we'll have no one to help us. But we need proof of this to bring to Command Group 13. Below Cameron's Hope is an underground network of tunnels and basins that were used during the terraforming process of Fujiyama to dump cooling fluid from the reactors. It contains a data access router that connects the system of Cameron's Hope to the Fujiyama data access. That router must be removed, not destroyed. We can assume that the silo itself and perhaps the underground systems have already been infiltrated by the enemy. We need to take them all out. No one can escape. It's still highly radioactive down there, but our armor suit should protect us adequately. Arm yourselves and let's move out.
This just keeps getting better and better. I've got visual on a possible hostile. I've lost him! I've got a visual on a possible hostile.
Lieutenant, the men are tired and low on morale. We need to rest and somehow get their spirits up.
Listen, Sergeant, I haven't got time to worry about Marines who can't hack it. We're an elite covert unit and are supposed to be able to deal with this kind of pressure. This is what the men signed up for, what we trained them for, and what we're here for. I suggest you shake them up and get them ready for action, because we're sure as hell gonna see a whole lot of it in the coming hours. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Look, I'm certain that Sigil knows how we can get off this planet. He's basically told us. But it's afraid. And right now, we're the only chance it has to survive. So it isn't gonna tell us right away, is it? Not until we find the Nemesis AI and somehow neutralize it. I've already made a deal, and if we find this thing and destroy it, Sigil will get us out of here.
You trust that thing to keep its word?
What other choice do we have?
Lieutenant Hardlaw, I have found it.